Hello everybody, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Rox, I'm a Western Tropical Astrologer, and today we're going to be talking about the upcoming full moon lunar eclipse in Libra. This is coming up on the 25th of March at 7 in the morning GMT time, so you can adjust that for your own time zone. This eclipse is taking place at 5 degrees, 7 minutes of Libra, so those of you who have in your natal chart planets or angles or important points such as the North Node, around 5 degrees of cardinal signs, you folks are going to feel this astrological event the most. Let's recap what the cardinal signs are. Of course, Libra, Aries, and also Cancer and Capricorn. If you have in your natal chart planets or angles around 5 degrees of the following: Sagittarius, Gemini, Aquarius, and Leo, you might actually enjoy this event, this eclipse, more than the average Joe, just because the eclipse is going to be forming harmonious aspects with your natal planetary placements. I feel like I've got so much to say about this eclipse. I'm taking a moment to catch my breath. We are going to go through the most significant elements of the eclipse. We're also, of course, going to go through the update for each of the 12 zodiac signs so that you know what to expect at the time of this eclipse. Before we do that, I really want to emphasize one thing. Please listen to the update for your rising sign, because that is likely to resonate the most. Why? Because it is from the rising sign that the entire natal chart is set up, and this setup of the natal chart, which is the map of the sky at the time when you were born, folks, this setup reflects our various life sectors. So, for example, money, home, career, day-to-day work, health, etc. So the way that the natal chart is laid out is very much dependent upon the rising sign, upon the ascendant. And these general forecasts, the ones that I do, mostly focus on the ascendant. I know that there are some astrologers out there who build general horoscopes, who create general forecasts based off of the sun sign. I'm not one of them. I know, for example, that Susan Miller does that, but my forecasts, the ones that you're going to find on this channel, follow the rising sign. So please listen to the update for your rising sign. I know. Long story short, that is the gist of it. And in order to find out your rising sign, you're going to need your date, time, and place of birth. You can literally just Google online natal chart generator, and you put in your data and it generates your natal chart, and that is how you find out your rising sign. Oh God, let's go back to the eclipse. I feel like I'm stalling. I don't know why. I'll tell you why, actually. Eclipses are considered to be very fated milestone moments in astrology, milestone events. They do correspond with big endings and big new beginnings. There is a sense of fate at play. There is a sense of the universe kind of like casting the dice and saying, okay, this is how things are going to change. From a manifestation perspective, actually, it is recommended to just kind of like observe and see where the chips fall at the time of the eclipse. Eclipses are said to kind of like put us a little bit back on track if we have derailed from our path. Eclipses are said to give us a nudge in the direction of our destiny. At eclipses, significant people may enter our lives or exit our lives. Circumstances that sometimes feel completely beyond our realm of influence unfold, and they change our life. They change our destiny, and we just have to deal with it. My first astrology teacher, I remember her telling me, there's no room for bargaining at eclipses. Things just are however they are, and it's better to just accept them rather than to fight, rather than to kind of like try to push against the, or swim against the tide. And especially when it comes to lunar eclipses, generally there is an element of release, of letting go, of something exiting our life. This lunar eclipse actually is happening with the South Node, because the South Node is transiting Libra. So the theme of releasing, of letting go, of surrendering is even more potent. Judith Hill, who is an absolute expert, and I highly recommend her work. She's an expert on eclipses. I mean, she's a very well-known astrologer, so she's not just an expert on eclipses, but she is very well known for her work on the eclipses. Judith Hill says that an eclipse with a South Node indicates a massive power outage. So the floodgates are open, and kind of like something is being released, or is exiting our lives. People, when they hear words such as letting go, releasing, surrendering, sometimes they freak out, because I think as humans, we probably like a lot more the idea of new beginnings rather than of endings. We are generally quite attached to the way things are. So once again, the idea of something exiting our life isn't necessarily the most appealing one, but I think this is a very good example. And to be honest, I might have actually read it in one of Judith's books. Imagine that you're always eating, right? So you're eating, you're eating, you're eating, you're eating. Until you're full, right? And you can eat no more. So what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? What do you do? You can't eat until you explode, right? You have to go to the toilet. So releasing and letting go of things is actually very beneficial in many ways, because otherwise we would, metaphorically speaking, explode. Please forgive my metaphors. I know they are super cheesy. I sometimes try to come up with better ones, and I think about them before going to bed at night, and I'm like, oh, like how could I have said this better? But hey, as long as the message is sent across, I think that is all that matters. So we are seeing a power outage at the time of this eclipse. We are seeing something exiting our life. We are likely to see the following exiting our lives. At a collective level, some relationships may, or some partnerships, or some collaborations may end. Some partnerships and collaborations may work very differently after this eclipse. So the existing agreements, terms and conditions of certain partnerships, of certain alliances, the terms and conditions are probably going to change. There could be alliances that are dissolved. There could be partnerships that are dissolved. There could be diplomatic relations that are dissolved, because let us not forget, Libra is the sign of diplomacy, and so many politicians, oh God, so many politicians, if you study their charts, they've got a lot of Libra in them. Politics is a lot about diplomacy and negotiation, right? So some partnerships may come to a close, may come to an end, business, personal, and so on. Relationships are dynamics. Yes, they will change. In order for balance to be restored, we sometimes forget that Libra, I mean, maybe we don't, maybe you don't. We might sometimes forget that Libra is not just the sign that is focused on relationships and collaboration. It is also a sign of fairness, of equality, of justice, of balance, and of equilibrium and harmony. So if something needs to exit our life in order for the balance to be restored, then what can I say? Maybe it is absolutely worth us embracing it. I believe it's worth embracing whatever comes up at the time of this eclipse anyway. Once again, because it does feel like it's connected with a sense of like fate and destiny and purpose. Justice may well be restored. Balance may well be restored at the time of this eclipse. What we're also likely to see is potentially finally some alliances that maybe have taken a lot of work to form. They are gaining a more concrete shape. And especially alliances that are interested in things like long-term stability, helping those in suffering, helping victims, helping those that need rescuing. I'm also getting this very strong feeling that this eclipse is going to be about repairing wrongs. So again, justice, you could say. So if you have wronged someone, then this is your chance to repair and to make amends and to restore balance. If you have been wronged, then the truth is probably going to come out, and the other person, the other party involved is probably going to have to make amends, I'd say. Forgiveness is also a theme at the time of this eclipse. Forgiveness, peace, relaxation, tolerance, acceptance. Why? Because Venus, which is the ruler of the eclipse, is going to be in Pisces, and Venus is exalted in Pisces. So overall, I'm actually quite, how should I put it? I'm very much at peace about this eclipse. There is a sense of peace and comfort and kind of like enjoyable relaxation coming after this eclipse is kind of like done and dusted. And you know how I always say, pay attention also to the week before and the week after the eclipse. So by the time I release this, we are already in that sort of period. I would also say that this eclipse puts the spotlight on unconditional love. Who do you need to forgive? Who do you need to show unconditional love to in order for things to move forward, in order to get out of a place of stuckness and stagnation? I would also recommend folks to look back at the following dates and periods. So have a think about what was going on in your lives around the 14th of October of last year, of 2023, because that's when we had a new moon in Libra, and this full moon lunar eclipse is bringing things to completion, to culmination, and to fruition. This eclipse is part of the Saros series 113. So a Saros is kind of like a grouping of eclipses, and eclipses that are part of the same Saros series share very similar geometry. So they're kind of like part of this set of eclipses that carry forward the same theme over hundreds of years, actually. Eclipses are very, very, very significant when it comes to the collective and when it comes to astrological events that impact society, that impact the collective. So this eclipse is part of the Saros series 113, and the previous eclipse that happened as part of this Saros series took place in 2006. That is a long time ago. I know. March 2006. I mean, I know maybe some people are very young and maybe they weren't paying attention to this, but if you remember what was going on in your life in the spring of 2006, you might see that there is some sort of a continuation or kind of like a similarity between those events and the events at the time of this eclipse. The South Node, so this is very important, keep this in mind, folks. The South Node is going to reach the degree of the eclipse during the last week of August until the first week of November of this year. So end of summer in the Northern Hemisphere until the first week of November. So we are probably going to see the full-blown impact, the full-blown influence of the eclipse end of August until the beginning of November. So if you're kind of like paying attention to the sky and you're thinking, not much is happening in my life, I don't know about this thing. Things might come to the surface and make a lot more sense end of August until the beginning of November. Now, the regions that are around the world that are seeing at least some parts of the eclipse are the following. Pretty much a big part of the entire globe. Much of Europe, Northeast Asia, much of Australia, much of Africa, of North America, of South America, the Pacific, the Atlantic, the Arctic, and Antarctica. So why is this important? It is said that at a collective level, the regions that are seeing the eclipse are likely to be in the spotlight the most. So wherever the eclipse is visible from, those are regions around the world that are likely to be the most impacted by the eclipse. So a big part of the world. Let us just put it this way. I do believe that we are going to catch our breath a little bit. That's what I believe after this eclipse, and whatever release, whatever respite we're getting, take it, folks. Venus is also going to make a harmonious aspect to Jupiter, so there is a sense of confidence, of faith, of looking optimistically towards the future after this eclipse. So whatever is coming to a culminating point or to a close, it is definitely making room for better days, better times, and it is, even if that means a goodbye. How should I put it? I believe there is a very, very important part of this that is the glass half full, looking at the glass half full, because there is a lot of fullness to look at, to put it this way. Before we dive into the update for each of the 12 zodiac signs, let me also remind you to look back at the previous series of eclipses that happened on the Aries Libra axis, forgive me. This happened between October 2013 until March 2016. And before that, the previous series of eclipses on the Aries Libra axis happened between April 2004 until March 2006. So have a think about what sort of like big endings and big new beginnings you were experiencing throughout these periods. For example, I can share something from my own personal life. In the previous cycle of Aries Libra eclipses, so October 2013 until March 2016, I left behind a career, my career in television back home in Romania, and so the South Node was transiting my 10th house of career, and the North Node was transiting my 4th house of home and family and living situation, and I relocated for good, because here I am, to the United Kingdom. So definitely a very impactful time for me. Oh, and folks, let me just also say this, so that we don't dive right into the updates for the zodiac signs. For those of you who are watching this and you're thinking, how can I work with you, Rux? I want to book a personal reading. I want you to analyze my natal chart, or I want you to do a year ahead forecast for me based off of my natal chart, so that I am best prepared for the year ahead, so that I know what themes I'm working with, what opportunities I can expect, what challenges I can expect. Or I would like to understand more about my compatibility with my partner, or understand more about my astrocartography or my relocated chart. I want to move, I don't know, to a different country. What can astrology tell me about that? So if you have any of these questions, or other questions that astrology can shed light on, you can find me on my website. My website is writteninthestars-astrology.com. That is writteninthestars-astrology.com. You can go straight to the services section, and if you're a new client, the option to go for is the 1 hour 15-minute Zoom consultation. If you're an existing client, you've got 2 additional options: the 30 minutes follow-up and the 1 hour year ahead forecast. And the way that the process or the process of booking works is the following. So first you make the payment on my website, and then using the contact form on my website, please email me your date, time, and place of birth. The time of birth is absolutely essential. Absolutely, absolutely essential for accuracy. We cannot work without the correct time of birth. So you email me your date, time, place of birth, and also your city of residence, and then I send you timing options for our consultation, taking into account, of course, your time zone. That is why I'm asking you for your city of residence or place of residence. So writteninthestars-astrology.com, that is my website. That is where you can purchase consultations with me. That is also where you can purchase my courses, recorded courses, forecasting with transits, the natal chart interpretation masterclass, the Saturn transits masterclass for those of you who are astrology students, especially intermediate plus. There is no other place on the internet where you can purchase any of my services, so do keep that in mind. And now let us go into the updates for each of the 12 zodiac signs. Now, give me 1 second. I need to drink a little bit of water. Thank you, thank you. Especially when it comes to these videos that I just kind of like film in one go. Sometimes I need to like stop and be like, okay, water, take a moment, take a breather, and then dive in. So of course we're going to start with the one and only Aries. So this eclipse on the 25th of March, active also week before, week after. My lovely Aries, it is activating your relationship axis. Look back at what was going on in your relationship sector last year in October, because this eclipse is probably going to bring things to a culminating point. So when I say relationships, I do want to clarify. I am referring to both romantic relationships, but I'm also, in this situation, I'm referring mostly to relationships that are connected in some shape or form with your work or with your health. So business relationships, or for example, the relationship that you've got with, I don't know, your personal trainer or your acupuncturist, for instance. So this eclipse is bringing things to a culminating point. Essentially, at the time of the eclipse, a relationship is either going to go to the next level. So it's going to start working differently. It's going to start functioning differently. You might be ready for the next stage of the relationship. You might be ready to develop it in a new direction, and it's probably going to work differently moving forward. So for example, let's say you've been with someone for a very long time. This could be the time when you decide to, for instance, move in together or make a big purchase together. For some people, this eclipse can also bring the culminating point that results in a closure relationship-wise and some sort of an ending relationship-wise. If you realize that this is not working, if you realize that it is time to let go, if you realize that you cannot build together, if you realize that you've got maybe different goals for the future, then this could be the time when you say, you know what, we can still be friends, maybe. We've had a good run, but it is time to move. It is time to move away. It is time to move forward from this. There is also a possibility that a relationship could enter a new chapter, but kind of like a chapter that is potentially for some time going to be kept hidden or secret or behind the scenes, because we are going to have Venus, which is the ruler of the eclipse, in your 12th house. You might start working together with a partner on something behind the scenes, and it does feel big, and it does feel like it's going to change the dynamic completely. So the relationship sector is going to be going through like a massive kind of like overhaul anyway. This could also be the time potentially when you decide to maybe put less emphasis on your relationship sector and focus more on things such as your mental health, your spiritual health, your spiritual practices, and to invest more time maybe in looking after yourselves, Aries, I would say. Remember that the South Node is going to reach the degree of the eclipse last week of August until the first week of November of this year. So you might see this sort of like chapter connected with relationships fully coming to fruition or completion, or seeing like a full-blown closure. First week of August until the beginning of November. This can also be the time when you decide to maybe no longer work with someone who's been making an impact on your mental and emotional health. So you might decide to say goodbye to your therapist, for instance. That is a possibility. My dear Taurians, Taurus suns and Taurus risings, dun 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 dun. 25th of March, eclipse season, and a full moon lunar eclipse is taking place in your 6th house of day-to-day work and health. It is activating the 6th house, 12th house axis. This is probably going to bring a work relationship to an end, Taurians. You might decide to potentially stop working or stop collaborating with a team, maybe with a client, maybe with a colleague. I also believe that for some of you Taurians, this eclipse could bring the end of a job or of a work-related project. Have a think about what was going on in your work sector last year around the middle of October, because this eclipse might kind of like correspond with themes that were on your radar last year in October. Venus, the ruler of the eclipse, is in the 11th house, exalted in Pisces, nicely aspecting Jupiter. So if you are saying goodbye to a job, it's probably because you've got something much better lined up and you've got maybe exciting plans that you are looking forward to. And even if you don't have another job lined up, you're like, I've got better plans. I cannot wait to throw myself into them. I feel like you are really looking forward to maybe bringing this work-related chapter to a close. This eclipse can also bring to a close a health-related chapter. If you've been working on your health, if you've been improving your health, if you've been giving up on nasty habits, I don't know, smoking for instance, just saying. You're probably going to see some really good results. This is also a really good time to indeed give up on habits that are not healthy, that are negatively impacting your health. This might also be a time when you potentially say goodbye to some of the people that you worked with, but it's a bittersweet moment. So yes, you're saying goodbye, but at the same time, there is a sense of kind of like feeling good and of celebrating and of looking forward to what the future holds. I would also say that this can be the time when you finally decide to maybe revisit who you work with on the health front. So let's say that you had, I don't know, like a personal trainer or someone like that. You might revisit that relationship and maybe start working with someone else, or maybe even decide, you know what, I'm going to join a community of people that have the same health-related goals as I do, because that's going to make it a lot easier for things to happen in my life health-wise. And of course, some of you could also receive a job offer. That is very, very possible, but it might involve saying goodbye to some good friends from work. Of course, if you're going to be moving, makes a lot of sense, Taurians. Geminis, Gemini suns, and Gemini risings. Full moon lunar eclipse, 25th of March, active week before, week after. This is activating your 5th house, 11th house axis, and Venus is exalted in Pisces in your house of career, and it is sextiling Jupiter. Okay, this is interesting. So this could be the culminating point, the peak moment of a creative project that you've been working on to help you advance professionally. This could be the culminating point of a creative process professionally, maybe a project that you've been working on with a group of people, with a community of people. You might be presenting it. It is likely to have turned very, very, very well, my dear Gemini. So if you do have something to present to the outside world professionally, I can tell you that it looks like you've done a good job, and it looks like the teamwork has paid off. This could also feel like the end. It could feel like a chapter is closing in the life of a child or of your children in general. Maybe they are wrapping up their studies. Maybe they are receiving some sort of like result about, I don't know, like entering into grammar school or something like that. It feels like, even though this is a bittersweet end because it's giving you the feeling that your kids are growing, and they are, and it's beautiful to watch, but at the same time, it's like, oh no, babies. It is probably like an achievement for you to be very proud of, and you might actually be very proud of it and kind of like share it with the world and spread the news. If you were looking, for example, to get pregnant, indeed, this could be the time when you get such news, and you might need to make an announcement to the world and maybe to your boss about this. This could also be the time when you celebrate something. There is an energy of celebration in the air. There could also be a sense of potentially celebrating someone departing. Once again, maybe from your professional life, but it could be someone who you got along very well with, and you're probably once again kind of like, you're having mixed feelings. You're kind of like sad to see them go, but at the same time, it is probably like a very good move for them to take off and go in a new direction career wise. Cancerians, Cancer Suns and Cancer Rising. Oh my God, Cancerians. You are part of the cardinal cross that this eclipse is impacting. So 25th of March, week before, week after. The lunar eclipse is activating your 4th house, 10th house axis. A culminating point, a big ending that is kind of like making room for a new beginning in the following sectors. Some of you could be saying goodbye to an existing home or to an existing kind of like living situation. Some of you are probably going to be revisiting and releasing an old approach to the relationship that you had with a family member. Someone could be saying goodbye to you. I mean, I am looking at a family member and they might be moving abroad. They might be having different plans for the future. And even though maybe part of you is kind of like excited for them, there is a part of you that maybe needs to take a little bit of time and cry it out and say, this could also be the time when you travel to see family or maybe to you might travel to say goodbye to family if they're moving, if they're relocating once again. There is a sense of kind of like clearing something out of your home, out of your house, out of your home and family life to make room for something new, something better, to make room for the future. Let's say you could take a decision connected with your home and living situation around this time. If you've got any properties to sell, if you've got anything that you need to kind of like get rid of on the home front, this is it. It's a good time to do so. This could also be the time, my lovely Cancerians, when you could hear news connected with your career that involve spending time away from home. You might realize, okay, if I say yes to this career opportunity, if I start working with these people from, I don't know, this office, this country or whatnot, what is that going to mean for the time that I spend at home? Well, it's probably going to mean less time spent at home, or it might even mean for some people relocation, just as an FYI. What I can tell you is that you're very excited. What I can tell you is that you're eager to travel, to connect with new people. There's a sense of like hope and like real kind of like enthusiasm about the future. So I don't see you being, I mean, even if you're maybe saying goodbye to a home, I'd say it's looking pretty good. And this could also be the time to maybe make up with a family member if you've been having a hard time, if you've been going through, I don't know, like challenges in the relationship with a family member. This is it. It's looking really good, and it's a great time to bury the hatchet. Leo Suns and Leo Risings. Full moon lunar eclipse, 25th of March, active week before, week after. This is activating your 3rd house, 9th house axis. What is going on here? So I am seeing a culminating point. I'm seeing a closure, an ending. I'm seeing some big kind of like outcomes, big results connected with your education, my dear Leos. So you could be getting some big news, some good news connected with your education. If you applied for any sort of sponsorship, scholarship, or bursary, you're probably going to get it. You could be making a big payment towards your education. Also, you could be receiving money towards your education. I do also see this moment in time as a big win for those of you who are involved in any kind of like legal issues, legal matters. Well, let's put it this way. Essentially, if you are in the right, if you know that you've done the right thing, justice will be made. Let me just put it this way. And if you're waiting to get paid as a result of justice being made, you are probably going to get paid. However, I want to remind you that the South Node is going to reach the degree of the eclipse, so we're seeing the full-blown kind of like culminating point, or the full-blown kind of like picture of what's coming to the surface at the time of the eclipse. end of August, beginning of November. Okay, so you may hear news, like good news connected with money and finances, so lump sums of money. This could also be the time when you are making a significant sale, so you might be getting rid of something like a car, or you might be selling something basically that is kind of like close to your heart, but the money is very much worth it, and part of you also feels like, you know what, it is time to say goodbye to this. If you've been waiting for news connected with visas, residency, and things like that, you're probably going to get good news, but you might need to make an extra payment, just as an FYI. But overall, it's looking very, very, very good. Virgo suns and Virgo risings. 25th of March, active week before, week after. We've got a full moon lunar eclipse in Libra. Virgos, this is activating your financial axis. And Venus, the ruler of the eclipse, is going to be in your 7th house of connections and relationships, forming a nice aspect to Jupiter, and Venus is going to be exalted. So this could be the time when you make a significant payment. You make a significant payment maybe towards your credit card, your loans, your debts. You may be clearing off debts. If you are waiting for someone to pay you a big sum of money, you are probably going to get good news around this time. If you are waiting for some sort of news connected with salary, you are, or maybe like a raise or something like that, you are probably going to get good news once again. This could also be a fantastic time to revisit financial partnerships, or how should I say, partnerships that have some sort of a financial side to them. So for example, if you've been working with a financial advisor, or if you've been working with a business partner, this could be a good time to revisit the existing agreements on the financial front. And I dare say that you might be better off after you revisit these financial agreements. Whoever it is that you're in partnership with is very, very willing to be accommodating and supportive. I dare say that this can also be a time when you let go of an old attitude to money, finances, and budgeting. And I also want to say that it feels like a relationship. It could be a romantic relationship. It could be a relationship with someone who is very close to your heart. A relationship that is very important in your life, has had a significant impact upon you kind of like changing your attitude and your approach to money, budgeting, and expenses. Some of you could be leaving behind a source of income, my dear Virgos, around this time, but that's okay, because it does look like you can really kind of like rely on, you can really count on a partner or on someone who maybe acts as a very kind of like strong supporter in your life. So if you do need to say goodbye to a source of income, don't worry, you're not alone. You're not going to be left out in the, I don't know, in the cold financially. You can rely on someone else financially for a while. And I want to say that this is also making room for better things to come in on the financial front. Libra suns and Libra risings. Of course you're the stars of this eclipse. Of course, because it is happening in your own sign. What on earth is going on? So, full moon lunar eclipse, 25th of March, active week before, week after. It is activating your 1st house, 7th house axis, and Venus, the ruler of the eclipse, is in your 8th house. In a nice my apologies. Venus is in your 6th house of day-to-day work and health, in a nice aspect to Jupiter in your 8th house. So let me clarify what on earth is going on. So I feel like you are pretty much letting go of an old identity, my dear Libras. You are letting go of an old way of kind of like presenting yourselves into the world, an old way of approaching reality, which is much more symbolic, let's put it this way. You are letting go and maybe releasing an old approach to work and to health. Either of these kind of could apply. This could be the time when you also maybe decide to stop working with someone who you used to work with. This could also be the time when you decide to stop collaborating with someone on the health front. This could also be the time when you realize, okay, if I want to work on my relationships, and if I want things to get better, and if I want to experience improved connections, collaborations, and relationships, and more kind of like reciprocity, I need to approach relationships differently. I need to kind of like mend things and fix things and edit things on my end, on my side, and maybe I just need to kind of like show up differently in my relationships. And when I say relationships, please forgive me because I know I've said this many times. I am referring to romantic relationships, but I'm also referring to business relationships, for instance, professional relationships, relationships with clients. Let's say. This could also be the time when you decide to accept some sort of concrete help from a partner. It could be a romantic partner, but it could also be a business partner. So you might accept some help from them in order for you to kind of like to restore the balance in your life work-wise, but maybe also health-wise. And speaking of health, this is a time to let go of an old approach to your health and to how you kind of like treat your physical body. It is a great time to give up on something health-wise, such as a bad habit, like a negative habit. It is a good time to maybe let go of an old image that you had of yourself that you realize, I mean, it's not healthy. So if you've been beating yourselves up, if you've been judging yourselves too harshly, Libras, this is it. This is the time to let go of that. You might be feeling a bit energetically drained. Let's put it this way, with the eclipse happening in your house of the physical body. Take the time to rest. And remember that you don't have to be a martyr at work or otherwise. There are people who can jump in and help you and take things off your plate. Scorpios, Scorpio suns and Scorpio risings. 25th of March, active week before, week after. We've got a full moon, a lunar eclipse, activating your 12th house, 6th house axis. Dun, 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 dun. What's going on? So you are releasing some old patterns of self-sabotage, or of sabotage in general, when it comes to relationships. Now, Venus is going to be in your 5th house, so especially when it comes to romantic relationships, if you ask me, you might also decide to let go of maybe an old obsession for a lover, for someone that was very close to your heart. You might feel like, okay, this chapter is coming to a close. I'm done with it. I'm letting go of it. This eclipse puts the spotlight on cleaning things up, on kind of like doing like a proper cleanup in your life, and sometimes that is very metaphorical in nature. So for example, if you have wronged someone, make amends, make repairs. If you've wronged, if you have been unfair to an ex, to a lover, if you've been unfair to one of your children also, it is the time to show some humility and to make amends and to make repairs, because that is going to improve the relationship with these people many fold. This could also be the time when some of you could be releasing a job because maybe there's like pregnancy in the mix, and maybe, I don't know, you're going on maternity leave, or you want to focus more on your children or something like that. And it could also be a time when you let go of some sort of a fear connected with relationships. Why are you letting go of this? Because you probably are really feeling the unconditional love from someone. It can be especially from a romantic partner, but it can also be the unconditional love that we kind of like receive from pets, from children. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to let people in, Scorpios. It's okay to open yourselves up to unconditional love, if you ask me. Something that you probably did not see coming might come to the surface around this time. For example, maybe I don't know, like a work colleague having feelings for you, or you might decide to give that, I don't know, that connection with someone from work. You might decide to give it a chance, to give it a shot, romantically speaking. This is also a great time to focus on your mental health, Scorpios, and especially to release any sort of like hang-ups or kind of like fears that you had around, I don't know, around enjoying life in general. So I've heard some people be very kind of like superstitious, or I don't know if superstitious is the right word, and say things like, oh no, I mean, they're afraid to have too much fun, or to be having like too good a life, or to be celebrating life, because they're thinking, oh no, what if this is gonna get taken away from me and I'm gonna be so miserable. So they basically like keep themselves in like a miserable state so that they don't have to go through the pain of losing whatever good they have in their life. I know, I mean, Maybe I haven't explained it properly. But essentially, don't be afraid to be happy, Scorpios. It's okay to be happy. It's okay to go with the flow. And this is also a time, the eclipse might also put the spotlight on a time when you just need to freaking relax and take some time off from work and celebrate life and spend time with your loved ones, especially with partners, children, loved ones in general. It is absolutely the bestest time for this to happen. Sagittarius suns and Sagittarius risings. 25th of March, active week before, week after. We've got a full moon lunar eclipse activating your house of friends and your 5th house of enjoyment. So this eclipse can bring with it some sort of a celebration with friends. Yes, very possibly. You might have something to celebrate and to kind of like bring to everyone's attention connected with your work or with your health. Maybe you've kind of like gotten that job that you've worked really hard for. Maybe you've overcome something health-wise. So really, it is a time of celebration. However, this can also be a time when you no longer collaborate with a community of people work-wise. So, for example, if you were working for yourself, Sagittarians, you might decide to stop collaborating with, I don't know, a particular kind of like sector or a particular audience, and you might decide to say goodbye to them around the time of this eclipse. This can also be the time when friends have something to share with you, something that you might both celebrate but also feel kind of like a little bit bittersweet about. So some friends, for example, might say, "We have to say goodbye because we are moving to a different state for work purposes. We've gotten these, I don't know, amazing jobs and toodaloo." I'm obviously simplifying for the sake of, I don't know, performance. But yeah, you could be saying goodbye to some friends because maybe things, like good things are happening in their work life, but that does involve maybe some distance or something of that nature. This could also be a time when it feels like you have completed an important goal, an important project, an important objective, connected either with your work or with health or with some work that you've done around the house. So maybe if you've been renovating the house or something like that, it could feel like, okay, this is it. Dynamics with friends are likely to also evolve after the, with some friends at least, they're likely to evolve after this full moon lunar eclipse in Libra. And even though maybe part of you is like, oh no, I really like the way things were, at the same time it does feel like things can work significantly better if you make room for improvement in the functionality of the relationship. Capricorn suns and Capricorn risings. 25th of March, active week before, week after. We've got a lunar eclipse in Libra in your 10th house of career, public status, and public reputation. A point of culmination career-wise, so you could be getting that, like, I don't know, big job, big promotion professionally that you've been working on for quite some time. Look back at what was going on in your career sector last year, Capricorns, around the middle of October, because this eclipse is probably going to bring things to a culminating point. This can also be a time when a boss leaves or leadership changes at the top in terms of who's managing the company, for instance. This could also be the time when you decide to say goodbye to a super kind of like, I don't know, like fancy, like job, a super kind of like exciting position that you held professionally. Why? Because it feels like you want to learn something else and you're very, very excited about going in a different direction, maybe professionally. So you want to spend more time doing what you like, you have new passions, you have new hobbies, you want to study something that is connected with your passions and hobbies and that is connected with what speaks to your heart. Some of you could also experience a parent bringing a chapter to a close professionally. So maybe a parent is retiring or something like that. Some of you could decide that you're done with an industry altogether, career-wise. Please forgive me if I'm repeating myself. It is a big focus. There is a big focus on career. Let's put it this way. There's also a big focus on your public life and public status, regardless of what you're doing career-wise, Capricorns. So you might have some sort of a big announcement to make to the outside world, connected with your home life, your family life, and maybe the sector of children evolving, which is very, very very possible. I feel like you have accomplished something big career-wise. I keep on going back to the career, and now it's time to kind of like just let it go. Just let it go. That's what I'm seeing. Last but not least, if you've had any sort of like issues in the relationship with a parent, especially well, I will say especially the mother, it feels like you're talking, it feels like you're on the same page, it feels like you can kind of like build upon the relationship and build upon a better sense of understanding each other, moving forward. Aquarius suns and Aquarius risings. Full moon lunar eclipse, 25th of March, active week before week after. It is activating your 9th house, 3rd house axis. So there can be a big kind of like spotlight that is being placed on topics such as traveling, education, especially higher education, your connection with foreign lands and foreign countries, your academic situation, but also anything connected with visas, residencies, green cards, things like that. When it comes to visas, residencies, citizenship in a different country, in a foreign country, you're probably going to get it. I mean, Aquarians, good news. Venus is exalted in Pisces. Venus rules the eclipse, and it's super nicely aspected to Jupiter, so it feels like something is coming to a close, to a culminating point and to an end on this front, but it's ending successfully, so you can kind of like now focus on other things. You can focus on, I don't know, like your home life, your family life. You can maybe focus on setting down roots someplace else. This could also be the time when a trial ends, Aquarians, or justice is made, justice is served. I don't know what the correct expression is. Justice. That's what I'm talking about. Whoever wronged you, they're probably gonna have to pay. You are victorious. I see you being in a very good position financially. I see you after kind of like the result of this trial. I see you being very kind of like safe and stable and steady, financially, emotionally, in all respects. This could also be the time when you wrap up something connected with your, I don't know, maybe collaboration with people from abroad. So if you were involved in any sort of like collaborations, partnerships, projects with people from abroad, you might decide to take a step back and say, okay, we're no longer going to be working together. But that doesn't seem too bad at all if you ask me for your financial situation. On the contrary, it almost feels like it's making room for increased growth, for a significant growth, for kind of like an increased uptick in your financial situation. For those of you who are married and who have in-laws, some sort of like positive news connected with in-laws. They're in a much better place financially, like things are settling for them home-wise, family-wise. If they were having any sort of like issues, I would say. It could be a time when you also plan some sort of a trip. It is probably something that costs quite a bit, but you've got the money, you're in a good position, and it could be a trip with the family. It's good news. Overall, I really, really like it. And Pisces, my dear Pisces suns and Pisces risings, what can you expect from this full moon lunar eclipse in Libra on the 25th of March? So it's going to be active week before week after. It is activating your financial axis. Oh, you're getting rid of debts, my dear Pisces. You are absolutely getting rid of, I don't know, like mortgages, loans, credit cards, and that seems to be really good because it's giving you a strong sense of relief, emotional relief. You might also end some sort of a financial partnership or collaboration. So you might decide to no longer work with your existing financial advisor or with your existing accountant. There's also a sense of letting go of some sort of a crisis of an emotional nature around this time, maybe something connected with your approach to relationships, to partnerships, to intimacy potentially. So maybe something that generated stress, anxiety, tension in your relationships in the past. Now you're letting go of it. If there has been any sort of like actual like crisis in your intimate relationship sector, also that is a thing of the past. You are saying goodbye to that, and it's it feels like it's very strongly connected with the fact that you have a much deeper appreciation for yourselves, Pisces. So you are basically loving yourselves a lot more. If you've been having any sort of like challenges in connection with your physical body, especially at a psychological level. So for example, if you've been experiencing things like body dysmorphia or just kind of like beating yourselves up for, I don't know, not being with your health where you want it to be, it feels like now you're letting go of that state of like stress and tension, and you're fully accepting who you are, where you are, and that actually seems to set the tone and set the scene for significant progress, my dear Pisces, in terms of your overall like health, wellness, and well-being, and the way that you feel in your body. This could be the time also for those of you who have investments, when you might cash in, cash out. So you might, let's say you've got stocks, you might sell stocks, for example, and you're feeling very good, you're feeling very proud, you're feeling very kind of like satisfied with the results, with the amount of money that you're getting. This could also be the time when you no longer support someone financially. So if you've been sending monies to someone, or if you've been helping someone financially, it could feel like, okay, this is it, it's coming to an end, now they're doing much better financially, and you can invest in yourselves, Pisces. And last but not least, it does feel like this eclipse brings to a close an existing financial agreement, maybe also with a partner. So you might revisit, I don't know, like who pays for what, joint finances, joint expenses, and you are breathing a big sigh of relief as a result of this new agreement, dear Pisces. Folks, I want to thank you once again for tuning in, for listening to this forecast. Don't forget that if you want to work with me, you can find me on my website, which is writteninthestars-astrology.com. That is writteninthestars-astrology.com. Let us know in the comments how the eclipse is playing out for you. Also, don't forget that this is a general forecast, and not every general forecast is going to speak to you. It is not a personal reading. If you want to book a personal reading, you know where to find me, on my website. If this content is useful, you can also leave a donation to my channel using the thanks button underneath the video, and also like, subscribe, comment, because it helps the channel, and it helps push this content to more people who would be interested in it. I'll see you on the other side of this eclipse, folks. Bye.